Alrighty, and welcome to another show of Let's Talk About Ice live from the Gold Coast this week. Every second week we're crossing from Coffs Harbour, and every other week we're crossing from the Gold Coast. And tonight, I tell you what, with so much going on and all the floods, for all those suffering from the floods at the moment, my heart goes out to you. Our team in Coffs Harbour are out on the ground, helping with food and support. So yeah, just bless you all. We are really blessed tonight to be able to have Eunice in here with us tonight, and sharing her journey. It's been a long time coming. I've really wanted her to share this, and I'm so happy that she was eager to jump in. I totally forgot about tonight's show, to be honest with you, because of everything going on with all the floods and stuff. But yep, she just no problem put up her hand and said, absolutely, I want to share, because this drug is out to kill, steal and destroy lives. And you know, by sharing the journey and by sharing what this drug does to our lives, we can actually raise awareness. We can share it with kids, with youth, with family, with people in the community, so that they can learn from our journey and from the devastation and the truth about what this drug does to lives and families, and hopefully they don't ever touch it. Not even once is our message here tonight. It's not worth it. You don't need to go down there. There are other ways to enjoy life, and we're really blessed that Eunice has come out the other end and she has joined our team. We're so honoured to have her with us tonight. So Eunice, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's cool. I enjoy it.
You have to speak up because
I
haven't got a mic.
I enjoy it, yeah, so it's good. I like to be part of it, so helping others to, get to where they need to get in life, so. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for.
Awesome. How's the sound out there, guys? Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear it? All good? We're trying to be as close as we can to the screen, but we don't have a professional mic in the house, so we do have to project a little bit more. So give me a thumbs up if the sound is good when Eunice is chatting, when we're chatting. Okay, if it's not, just let me know. Yeah? Awesome. Hi, Tariq. Good to see you. Thank you, Mel, for joining us. Guys, thank you so much. Please click share on this video so that it can go out further. So if you share it on your page, it reaches more people and it helps us get the message across, hey? So, hey, Rebecca. Awesome, thank you. Cool. Fantastic. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into the show. There's always a lot of people to thank for the support that we receive. Thank you, Mel, for sharing that. And there's a lot of people that are involved in making this organisation possible across Australia. We have many sponsors. We will be popping them up during the week. If you are somebody that wants to support the work we do, you can go onto Australian Anti-Ice Campaign webpage and click Donate Now. A regular small monthly contribution will help us keep going in different states. So we can't do that work without your support. Yeah, we run various programs. We run Women's House. We run transitional support, peer support, education. So there's many areas that you can help out in if you can't be here on the ground. So today we're not going to go into all the thankses, but we will be popping that up on our screen during the week. So let's start. Eunice, I want to hear, and I'm sure people at home really want to hear a little bit about you. Let's start with, how long have you been in recovery now?
Well, altogether about 3 years. At first it did take, hours, then days, then weeks, then months, and yeah, now I can finally say I'm about 11 and a half months. Like, yeah, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It does start with one day at a time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's one day at a time, one step at a time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does. It's a journey, yeah? And it's a journey that, nobody should do alone, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Take us back a little bit, back to when drug use first was introduced into your life. Do you remember that time? And maybe some of the thought processes that was going on for you?
Well, Drug abuse, I think, for me started with alcohol because when I was about 11 years old, I had a friend stay over and she was like, oh yeah, just take a few shots. Anyway, so I shot at about 3/4 of a bottle of brandy and ended up with alcohol poisoning. And so through my schooling, I was drinking, and then when I started going to parties and that with a girl that was a lot older than me, she was about 19 and I was 14, she introduced me to pot, sex, everything like that. And then, yeah, I just smoked pot for a good couple of years there. And when I got to about 20 years of age, I found a bag of ice, and yeah, I thought, oh yeah, I'll try this.
You found, hold on. You found a bag of ice, because that's like, I don't know, but people at home might be going, I mean, what do you mean you found it? Like, was it just in the street, or did somebody have it in their home, or how did that come about?
Well, I started going to the doctors because I was having spinal issues because I put out my back. Anyway, I was taking a lot of painkillers, and on my way out of the doctors, literally, it was just sitting on the ground there, about 1.5 points, yeah.
And did you know what it was at that time? Like, I don't know about you, but most people, like, you see it on TV, white thing, in big blocks, but most people at home wouldn't know if they found ice. They might. Did you know? Did you understand what that was? Or
yeah, I knew exactly what it was because for, between the ages of 13 and 19, I had done a lot of research on drugs, what they did, how, how they worked and that. So I knew, I could identify a lot of drugs. So when I saw it, I knew that it was ice because, it was like just clear shards. So, I knew that to be ice. So
that research that you did, though, at that young age, was that something that was instilled by school or your parents, or was that just curiosity? You wanted to, like, was there people around you using drugs?
No, not many people around me were using drugs, but I think I was just more curious than anything because I liked the way pot felt, and I guess I just wanted to try everything and anything because I saw it sort of got me out of what I was dealing with at home. So
okay. Did you, like, doing the research on that, did you actually, like, did you know about the long-term effects and the negative, I guess, consequences that were associated with it? And did it really come to life for you in reading that?
No, not really. I mean, I knew long-term side effects, but I didn't believe them. Like, I saw, before and after images of ice addicts and heroin addicts and stuff like that, but I never, I guess, thought that I would have an issue with long-term effects. I thought, that was probably, after, say, 30 years of use or 20 years of use, not, 3 or 4 years of use.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And, like myself, and I guess other people who have, tried and been addicted to substance, you kind of don't think that's not me. I got this. Was that part of your thought process? Like, I can handle this, or?
No, that didn't really come to mind at all, really. It was just that it was something to, I guess, alter my mind so I felt differently, and that was good enough for me.
Yeah, yeah. So you wanted to change your environment and situation you were in by masking, and hopefully you weren't feeling what was going on for you?
Yeah, well, I found that when I first initially tried ice, and even with pot, like, I could just mask what I was feeling. I could feel different. Yeah, and with ice, it was that I could, I guess, pretend like nothing was ever happening.
Yep.
because it sort of put it all in the back for me.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
And I understand that. So just if you're at home and you didn't quite get that, just explain, like, when you're using ice, everything appears initially, like everything in your life like scatters. It just goes away, and all that matters is that moment right there and then, and is the next hit, and is that how you're feeling right now, and everything else disappears. So temporarily, yeah, until you're coming down, and until the ton of bricks start to fall on top of you if you ever stop using, and it's not something that you can sustain because of the psychosis and the paranoia and the destruction it does to your actual brain. It starts to break down your neurological pathways in your brain. It starts to warp your reality, and you at times no longer are you totally present and understanding what's real, what's not real, and it's it's very damaging long term even to your brain. To have to recreate new neurological pathways in your brain if and when you can stop using. And the reality is that a very small percentage of people can stop using ice. And I was actually in an interview today, a young guy who wants to come on board and work with us, and he had 7 years up, 7 years clean time up, and I said to him, what was the point of difference there was that he abstained from using. He just abstained from using drugs, and that is not recovery. Yeah, so recovery is a very different thing, and I know, Eunice, that you are now in recovery. You've done a lot of work, and it does take work. And like I said to this young guy today, you didn't get here overnight. It took 18 years through addiction that you walked through, so you're going to have to go in and undo that, go backwards, yeah, and you've got to go in and work out your salvation, yeah, work out through healing the trauma, healing that journey, and it takes time, and the best thing that you can do is to pop into a rehab, an environment where you have all the tools around you intensified, and you can really focus on you and focus on your recovery, and really get a hold of those tools for life, because it's a life-changing journey. So let's go back to so you found ice, and tell me about what you thought when you found it. Great, I'm going to inject this, or I'm going to smoke it. How did it go down?
Well, at first, no, it was, I knew, obviously, by all the research I did, like, how to use it and everything, so I was like, yeah, great, awesome. I wanted to try different things. I wanted to go on heavier stuff because it helped me deal with the things that I was dealing with that I thought, but obviously it just made it worse. But yeah, my thought process was, yeah, oh great, and so I made, the utensils I needed for it, and and used it. But when I first used it, I was that, I'm not sure how to explain it. I was like a zombie, but I was still all there. But I didn't care what my friend was saying. She found out that night, because I was doing it in the bathroom, and she noticed there was something wrong. And she found out, and she tossed it. And, but a couple of months later, I ended up moving down in Brisbane, and lo and behold, I moved in right next door to a dealer.
So it followed you.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was the perfect opportunity for that lifestyle to start to take over your life.
Yeah, but it didn't just, it it didn't just take over my life mentally and physically, it took over my life completely. Like, I became very non-caring, like I didn't give a hoot what, you know, my friend was going through and stuff, because there was a lot of stuff happening between me and her at the time, and I guess I got very paranoid as well, and very angry easily, which led to me getting angry with her enough to not help her inside my 2 or 3 story window, and hence she slipped through my arm straight down the concrete. So I didn't give a hoot at all, to the point where she hit concrete, and I was like, crap, you know, what do we do? Like, what have I done? But yeah, I continued down that road, and our relationship just got worse and worse and worse. So
That's I can feel the pain in that journey for you. Yet you were helpless because you couldn't feel. Your mind saying crap, but you couldn't feel anything, and that's what this drug does. It really blocks your emotion and the capacity. You can see what's right in front of you, but how you deal with it isn't normal. You know, it really does block your caring almost there, your emotion, your feeling. Yet it's all inside at the same time, so it's not a good place to be. Tell me about what happened after that. Like, you continued to use, and did your family around you see what was going on for you, and did anyone reach out to try and help you at that point?
The reason I was living in Brisbane is because my mother kicked me out.
Yeah.
Because she found out I was using. So she kicked me out after I came back from Vanuatu. So before I went to Vanuatu with my school, not school friends, friends I studied with, and that I tried to get on through this guy, and I'd given him over $300 to, you know, get more ice for me, and he ripped us off, which led to my friend having sex with him, but he raped her instead, and said, you know, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, I'll give you the money back. So it got to the point where he was like, oh, if you have sex with me, I'll give you the money back. So she, you know, obviously went to have sex with him, but then he ended up raping her instead. So I got back from Vanuatu, and I told her, you shouldn't have done that. Like, it wasn't your place to go there. But yeah, she felt she had to get involved, and that, you know, put her in a dangerous place, and that's what got me, you know, kicked out. So I was on the street with her, and that's when we moved into Brisbane, right next door to a, you know, dealer. So I was spending about $450 a day on ice at that time.
I've got to ask, because I know
so-
people might, sorry to interrupt the flow, but I know people will be asking the same, how did you sustain that? Like, how did you afford that?
So
When you were like, what, 19?
20, 21, yeah, 21. Well, I was using my friend's money and my money, and loaning things, hocking things. So I was using for every day, like almost every day. So yeah, eventually I loaned almost everything, and I ended up struggling again financially, and but it didn't stop there. You know, it went from going to Brisbane to coming back to Logan, And when I came back to Logan, I met a new dealer that could get on for me. And so I went through him at first to get on ice, and then not even a week later it changed to heroin and morphine, and say about 3 weeks later I started to inject it. So.
Tell me about how that transition happened. Like, you obviously researched all those drugs, so you were like using ice, and it was already starting to destroy. You know, you're using this money and destroy your relationships, your life. You got kicked out of home. You're next door to this ice dealer, and at what point, like, I don't know, but like, you know, ice is an upper initially, and like heroin is a whole different kettle of fish altogether. Like, I'm just interested in knowing the thought process behind it, you know, like, because it's like, and guys, just so at home, what we refer to in recovery terms is a poly user. So generally when people use more than one substance, you know, like, for instance, my experience was just with ice. But when you start to dabble in different drugs, it's referred to as a poly user. What was your thought process like behind that? Like, oh, I just want to feel something different, or I've had enough of this one, or?
No, so for a couple of years there, when I was around about 19, 20, before it all started, I wanted to try heroin because I knew somebody that, you know, went down that path before. But I was already, like I said, on painkillers and that for my spine because I had bulging discs and analysis and stuff. So my target drug was heroin rather than ice. So I just used ice because it was available.
Yep.
And I couldn't get heroin. So once I, you know, met this guy that I went through, he was able to get heroin, and then I, you know, jumped from that, you know, between both of them, and morphine, and yeah, so I guess ice was an extra for me, but heroin and morphine were to manage my pain, but also, I guess, to also mask everything and get high off it. So.
Yep. So before that, you were like smoking ice,
yep.
And then so once you moved to heroin, you started injecting.
When I moved to heroin, I started snorting.
Yep.
Heroin for about 3 months or so, and then one of the dealers that was selling ice, he was like, oh, you know, do you want to inject it? You know, it'll feel better and stuff. And I knew that injecting it, you know, you got 100%. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And he's like, oh, do you need me to do it? I'm like, yeah, because I don't know how to do it. And so yeah, he literally jabbed it in my neck.
Ow.
Yeah. So.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was, because, you know, there was a chance of him hitting something else, you know, so especially in my neck. But
were you scared about how it was going to react, like in you?
Yeah.
Like, a needle's a very different thing than popping a pill. I mean, no drugs, illicit drugs, or, you know, stuff that's not prescribed to you is not safe, you know, to just use. But, you know, I don't know, but my thought process when I first tried the pipe was like, it's just a bit of smoke, I can control it. Wrong was I, because it just takes control over you. But I thought, oh, I would never do that. And then you do that, you know, like, it's like, but I want to know, like, were you scared to make that transition? Did you think, oh man, you know, this is the next level, or I could die from this, or?
Yes and no.
Yep.
I mean, years before I was scared of needles. I hated getting blood tests and stuff like that. But once it came to the point where I was, you know, snorting too much. It was costing too much. I was just like, go for it.
Yep.
You know, so, and yeah, I was scared that that one hit was gonna, you know, drop me. And it almost did, but I guess, yeah, from then on I went down that. And now I guess I don't have any, like, this might sound horrible, but I don't have any veins left to use even for blood tests anymore, so it's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine. So, tell me how your life looked at that point, Eunice. Like, you know, share with us, paint a bit of a picture of what that looked like. Like, did you go to work? Were you, you know, achieving goals and dreams?
No, I wasn't working. But I guess at the time I thought it was great, but when I look back on it, it wasn't. Like, I was constantly at their place, and their place was literally just concrete, needles, bins, you know, spoons. It was a horrible place to be in. And, you know, I remember one night I stayed there for a couple of hours because I was, you know, smoking ice, and I was waiting to get on at about 4 a.m. in the morning or something. And while I was waiting, one of my mates at that time, he went to sleep, but the other one, he was like, oh, you want to watch a movie or something? I'm like, yeah, right. And so we sat on his bed and we were watching a movie, and I didn't think much of it, you know, because I was just there waiting, and they were cool with it, so I stayed there. But then he tried to jump on top of me, and I was like, whoa, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I thought, you know. And I was like, no, man. So I left, and I knew I wasn't in a place I should be. You know, like, I've had previous sexual abuse, and, you know, he could have just been like, stuff you, you know, very easily. So I preferred not to go there anymore much. But so I went directly to the woman instead to get it off her. But one of my mates, you know, I was getting it through, we grew somewhat attached. He was like a brother to me. And I said to him, like, oh, if you could, you know, go into rehab, would you? And he's like, yeah, I'd give anything. But, you know, he didn't, I don't know, he felt he didn't have the money for it, but we all know that you have money for it, because some rehabs only take, well, not only, but they take 80% of your pension if you're on the pension. So he could have still went, but yeah, and then about 4 months later he dropped.
He dropped, you mean?
He died.
He died?
Yeah.
Wow.
He ended up in a hospital about 3 weeks earlier, having to have heart surgery.
Wow.
And I was literally only 6 months behind him in my use.
Yeah.
So
see, and this is
that's
why.
what scared it. That's what,
you
know,
it was
scared
a
me
life-changing
into
thing.
trying to get off it. So
Yeah. It shook you up a bit, hey?
yeah, it did.
And you know, when you see something like that, guys, you know, that's why we do what we do with our peer support. You know, many times people that are entrapped in addiction, and particularly ice addiction, but any substance addiction, you don't love living that lifestyle. You know, you don't love it, and you do think, oh, I wish I could get off. You know, but your brain doesn't work enough for you to work out how. That's the truth. And so our peer support and our buddy system is made specifically for that. Yeah, it's people like us who have been through that journey, who remember what it's like, you know, to feel like you're in a room with no windows and you don't know the way out, and you're stuck in this prison that, you know, you're kind of waiting to die. You know, you think you're going to be stuck there forever, you know, our peer support and buddy service is there so that we can reach in and go, hey, I know where you're at, and I've been there, and hold my hand and let me help you walk out. So, you know, that makes all the difference. I mean, that's a guy's life, you know, and so if we can do that and help someone else entrapped in that space, that means everything, yeah. So I was blessed that, you know, I had such an incredible intervention that I was able to step out, and Eunice had to go through experiencing that with her friend and him losing his life, that it shook her up enough to say, hey, I'm not far behind that, and I have to find a way out. Eunice, tell us how you did that. What did you do?
Well, I just want to add that he was injecting a lot of morphine, and these are morphine pills, so they have wax in them. So that's what I was also injecting as well. So I was technically injecting wax. That caused his heart valves to clog and not work properly, which also was causing mine issues, you know, 6 months before, you know, like before he passed. 6 months behind him when he passed. So, I don't know, I ended up, you know, praying. I kept begging God, like I was crying every time I used, because it got to the point where I was, you know, using not just to get high off it and feel something, but I was just using to stop the withdrawal.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, and that's, you know, I found out that I had a heart issue as well, which was why I had a lot of issues with my heart not beating properly. Yeah, but when I prayed about it, and that a couple of months later, yeah, I met George.
So just so we're clear, right, and I know that, you know, the substance he was using had wax in it, but ice also gives you heart issues, you know, and injecting other drugs. You're moving off set, come closer to me. I have heart problems because of using, you know, and I've seen some of my friends, you know, instant heart attack because of ice use, because it affects your kidneys and your heart dramatically. So yeah, I can, you know, different drugs have different effects, but
he was using ice while he was in hospital.
Wow.
With when he was, you know, going through surgery to fix his heart valves and stuff, having bypasses and stuff, he was still, he was only using ice at the time. While he was in hospital, he was getting people to bring him ice, but I was using everything at once. So ice, morphine, heroin. So you know, you're right. It's, you know, it does have a heavy toll on your body, and you don't think it would be you. Like I didn't think it would be me. I didn't think I'd have any issues for at least, you know, years and years. But, you know, obviously did, so.
So you reached out to, like, did you go online and look for some help services? How did that, when that shook you, how did you get in touch with George? Like what happened?
Because
family members or somebody help you?
Well, because my mental health got so severe, I ended up in the hospital a lot. So, you know, mental health took me on, and then I already knew about YFS, Youth and Family Services in Logan. So I got in touch with them and, you know, asked for some help, and they put me with George, and George was trying to get me on the NDIS, and yeah, like I ended up, getting over time, over the last 3 years, he's put me through the IV what are they called? The IV things where you get like vitamins through IV and that. And I found out that the levels of my body was so bad, like literally, or like almost all nutrients were stripped from my body, and no wonder I felt so horrible. Like,
let alone think straight, because we need, certain vitamins and minerals for our brain to function, water and, food, and, we're poisoning our inside without being able to see it. That's the reality. So tell me about how the beginning of that walk, with therapy and counselling, and it must have been devastating, the detox of all the drugs. How did you manage that?
So I decided to go on to methadone, so it would, somewhat stabilise me enough. But I knew that was what I needed rather than Suboxone or something, because I was still using and I couldn't seem to stop using. So, I got onto that, and that at least when I used, it would, stabilise my body again. So, I just, after I got on to methadone, I just, tried to stop. So, it went from, days to weeks to months, and, it got to a point where I had about 3 months clean, and then I used again. But then I had about 4 or 5 months clean, then I used again, and then had about 6 months clean, used again, and then now I'm 11 and a half months clean. But after I got past that 7th or 8th month, like, I didn't crave it anymore. I didn't need it anymore. So
yeah. And that also, I think the journey of recovery, having a vision and a dream before you of what you want your life to be like, and what you're here for, and that you're worth it.
George continually told me, I was a masterpiece. He kept telling me that, I had a future, that I was worth something, and he would just drum it into me every time I saw him, which was weekly, and over a couple of months I started to believe it, and so I guess that strengthened my will to keep trying and keep getting up. And now that I'm about 11 and a half months clean, I don't have that desire to go back. I know what it's given me, I know what it's caused me. It's just caused so much more misery in my life, and even physical issues that I have now, to the point where it's ruined so many things. There's just no point going back and letting it ruin more and more.
Yeah.
Like, I've already done that rebuilding process. There's no point, knocking it down just to, start again. So
yeah, that's awesome. And that's the way, I guess we help people step into recovery and look at pathways to help support their plan in recovery. But it's having knowledge that you're loved, that you are, you're precious, and that there's a purpose for your life. And we are just so blessed to have you on board with us. Really, every day. Eunice has started working with ARC, and tell us a bit about your future vision now, because what's your heart's desire in with what you've been through and ahead, you know? I know it, so, but I just want the people at home to share that.
Well, I guess I just want to, you know, I want to help those that are going through it. I want to help, you know, not just with the drug abuse, but also the mental health side of things as well, because that's a very big part of it as well. And I want to get somewhere in life for the first time in my life. You know, I had nothing to look forward to growing up, and you know, now I do. Like I have a vision, I have dreams of what I want my life to look like now. And years ago, I didn't even think I was worth it, you know? So, I guess, yeah, I just want to work in, you know, helping people as much as I possibly can, the best I can. But I want to be able to give them, you know, a friend that they can relate to, not just, you know, somebody they see once a fortnight or something and, oh, how are you doing? Good. Okay, cool. See you next time.
Yeah.
Because I needed that and I was given that, so why shouldn't I give that, you know? So.
That's awesome. That's what we're about, guys. We're about lived experience, you know, about giving back and supporting the next person through that journey. And yeah, I think, you know, you're going to make an incredible buddy and an incredible educator. I can't wait to get you out in the schools, talking to the kids, and I'm super excited. You've got so many talents. Just been knowing you for a few months and having the pleasure to do life with you, and just seeing all these talents coming out of this amazing young lady. And you know, that's what it's about. It's about encouraging each other, and about using what tried to destroy you to help others out as well, and living a joyful, peaceful life now. Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome that you've come out the other side. And you know, in saying that, we always have to be on guard. Yeah. You know, we do family at AARC, and we're doing this walk together. Whether we're 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, or 6 months clean, it's about having each other's back and going, hey, you know, your recovery plan, you've dropped your groups or you've dropped your counselling. Hey, you know, keep an eye on who you're hanging out with. We've got each other's back. Yeah, AARC is a family, and you know, we invite you tonight. If you know, if you are contemplating change, you might be in a space where, you know, yeah, I'm using, somebody sent me this video, but maybe I want to change my life. Maybe I've had enough of, you know, the destruction. Maybe I've had enough of, you know, losing my family, my friends, my things, my mind, and I, you know, want to make a change but don't know where to start. We are here to help you with that. We're here to support you in that journey. So, you know, Eunice is coming close now to the 12-month mark where we can engage her in some further training, and she'll be able to reach out and help people in the same space that she was. Yeah. And
I can get my medallion.
Yay!
I've been looking forward for that, you know, for the last year and a half.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And it is about setting goals. It is about, you know, looking forward. What's happened. We can't change the past, and the damage that it's done is done. But we can stop it, prevent it from moving further and damaging more lives, and, you know, killing us, I guess. And we can use that to do good. So, you know, if you're contemplating change, please call. The number to call is 1-800-NO-2-ICE. So just have a look at your keypad. Or 0481 844 555. Yeah, you can give that number a call. We're there to help. We're there to connect you. Somebody that's got lived experience will answer that phone, and we'll be able to connect you with a buddy and start your walk with you. Yeah. So, Eunice, thank you so much for sharing some of your story. We didn't go into huge in depth, but you may be hosting a show in the near future and share a little bit more. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that you've got so much in you to give. Beautiful heart and a beautiful heart to help others as well in through this journey. Any last minute thing, statements or any last minute things that you want to share? Because we've got we might have people just starting the journey on dabbling with drugs, or might have family members that have loved ones in addiction. They don't know how to help. There's also people who might be in recovery and thinking, how do I get 12 months? So that's who may be watching tonight. Any last minute things you want to instill?
Yeah, I do have something on my heart, which before I even thought about starting to try to stop, I thought that life without drugs wasn't going to be any fun at all. I thought I wouldn't enjoy life without drugs. But I actually surprised myself that now that I'm, able to think more positively, and now that I'm able to be in a stable mindset rather than always in depression and it getting worse from, using, I can say that I'm really actually enjoying life a lot more without it than being in such a miserable place, thinking that that's the best life can offer.
That's awesome.
So
that is a really good thing to leave people with, because honestly, I hear that a lot by the young generation. They go, oh, but if you're not partying up and drinking and doing drugs, what are you doing? And what else is there? I don't know what to do. If I'm not doing this is all I know, and I don't know what to do. But there is life outside of this world, outside of that world of drugs, yeah? There's so much more. We've been going to the gym, we've been trying to work on our fitness and eating healthy, and,
beginning gridiron.
Yay!
It's going to be awesome.
I know, I saw those.
Needs to get pumped for it. It's going to be awesome.
And, there's music programs, there's, art, we do art recovery stuff, building relationships, meaningful, loving relationships, real friendships that last, the people in ice world, as I call it, or in drug world, they're not your friends, they're people that you're using with, and they're entrapped in that world too, but that's not real friendship, sharing life together, and sharing laughter, and and hugs, and moments to cherish forever. That's life, and enjoying things like walks on the beach, and watching someone sweat their ass off when they go at the gym, and having those memories. There's lots of good stuff, movie nights we've got coming up, and so there's lots of fun stuff that you can be a part of as well. Music in the park, we do Grace in the Park, and connect at a real level. Substance abuse is not real. It's a fake. It's a facade. It's fake. So,
and it keeps you in that depressive mindset. It's a horrible place to be in. I never knew that a positive mindset existed, because for 24 years of my life I was in a depressive mindset.
Wow, that's
I never knew what a positive mindset looked like, and now that I'm in it, I enjoy it 10 times more.
That's awesome. That's such a good message to leave. So there is hope, guys. There is hope for change, and family members out there that might be worried about a loved one that might be in that same space. Eunice, do you have any last minute suggestions?
Not really. I mean, tough love, maybe. I mean, I guess in a way, with my mum kicking me out, it stopped me, depending so much on her. And then I guess I was just borrowing money off her, and when she put a stop to it, that sort of put a stop to me, getting on when I didn't have money. So I guess in the end it did bring me to rock bottom, but I guess all you can really do is just be there to support them when they need you.
Yeah.
And you know, you can seek help and advice from support services that can give you advice on what to do and what you can do. But most of all, I guess, just keep loving on them. Tough love, but keep loving on them despite what they're going through. And just be there for them when they fall. You know, don't take their responsibilities, don't pick up their responsibilities for them, but just be there to, you know, just have an arm around them, you know, during their hard times. And yeah, I guess the best thing you can do is support them the best way that you can without handing them a, you know, go get more. So like, you know, handing them money and ways to get on again. Just think about, you know, what your actions might be doing, I guess. Yeah.
That's awesome. Guys, we are connected with amazing family support networks as well. So if you are a family member supporting somebody, you know, through this journey, we do want to connect you to those services. So please reach out on that same number. We have an amazing affiliation with different family support groups. And so we would love to connect you to those groups to help support you with the boundaries, what's okay, what's not, just to chat with somebody, yeah? And like I said before, AARC is here to help those that are in addiction, create a pathway into recovery. So we're here to help you. Give us a call if that's you that we're talking to, hey? And love changes everything. Okay, you can hear from Eunice's story tonight. Eunice, thank you so much for sharing tonight.
That's okay. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being part of this family, and thank you for being in my life. I just love you.
Family. I love you too.
Guys, until next time, next week we will have Jose on the show. Hopefully, if the floods stop and he's not outreaching, but Coffs Harbour team will be on the show, and they'll have another amazing story to share. And they're not amazing, like we're not glorifying these stories. I'm just saying that they're amazing, that people have come through the other side and they're willing to give back and chat about it so that you can learn from it. Yeah, make sure you click share right now, click share before we go. The number to call if you need help is 0481 844 555. Okay, I love you guys. Can I teach you our not even once hand movement slogan thing? You ready?
Yeah, okay.
You can do this at home with us, okay? It goes N.
Oh, N.
N, not.
Yep.
Even. E.
Yep.
Yeah? Once.
Once.
Not even once, guys. Take care. Not even once. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next week or fortnight. Stay clean.